The night you guys won in St. Louis, I text you or I called you and I said, I hope you got the fucking ball. Let's put that bitch on eBay right now. And you said, no, hell no, I'm keeping it. I'm like, dude, we can make a lot of money on this thing. Let's
we,
go.
it's not your
Yeah,
fault.
we were a team. We were a team.
Oh yeah, fuck
Yeah,
yeah,
we're a team
always
on that
gonna
one.
be.
You're
I literally
agent.
called him and said, hey, I know you got the ball, because he caught it and he threw it in his pocket. And I said, we need to put that thing on eBay right now. And he's like, I'm keeping it. So where is the ball? Because the ball caused a crazy controversy. But where is the ball? And then you leased it, right? But do you still have technically ownership of it?
Death threats, all kinds of shit. I joked around and said I caught the final out of game 2 and game 4. Which one did I give back? So
well, which one did you give back? That's a good question. Nobody will ever know.
No.
Wait, so you gave him game 2 instead of game 4?
No, I gave it. So
I was trying to clarify.
Hey, we'll never know.
You'll never know.
Wow.
I leased it to him and gave it to the Hall of Fame. And I guess the whole thing for me was I literally had it authenticated right by Larry Lucchino in the clubhouse. Like, he's like, oh, is that the ball? I'm like, yeah, it's right here. And like the guy put the sticker on it and all right, man, cool. I just didn't want it to end up in some ball bag. And now we're taking BP, in fucking Fort Myers with it 2 years later. So I put it in, I had it in my glove and guy came back and next thing you know, it's like Shaughnessy had an article, wanted to write an article on me and Kevin Millar's relationship through the whole trade stuff. Because Theo was going to trade one of us because we all both wanted to play every day. And Kevin and I would talk and be like, well, where are you going today? Like, well, I'm going to the Mets. Where are you going? The Marlins, da-da-da. And the last 10 seconds of the conversation was, hey, do you still have the ball? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. Like, and then Shaughnessy goes, I bet you that could fetch a pretty penny. And I'm like, probably. And I go, maybe I'll put my kids to Florida State. Well, I didn't have kids at the time. And Florida State at the time was like $3,000. It was like tongue in cheek. And I remember working out the next morning because I was going to the Bahamas to fish a tournament. And I got like crazy amount of text messages and missed calls. I'm like, oh shit, somebody died. Like, what's the problem? And come to find out, Mientkiewicz won't give ball back. I'm like, what? And the worst part about it was, so they didn't want me to sell it to make money. Understandably so. Well, the Jimmy Foundation, the Jimmy Fund is on the, Beyond the Green Monster, whatever. And Lucchino called me, was like, he wanted to put it in the Fenway, whatever, Hall of Fame so that people would pay to come see it. And I was like, well, you're going to charge people to come see it, right? And he's like, yes, of course. And I go, well, why don't you I want $1 to every ticket you sell to go to the Jimmy Foundation in honor of the players. His exact quote to me was, players don't tell us what to do with our money. And I was like, okay, motherfucker, you ain't fucking getting it then. So that's kind of how, and then I became the villain. And it's like an urban legend. Like, there's people that still work at Fenway that have no idea what goes on. And, we'll save it for another episode because I have a really good story on the ball that that Brian Buchanan's involved in it. It's a freaking phenomenal one. But then 2 years later, a year later, I find out I'm in Key West and I'm reading the paper, which I never do. And I look in this thing, it says, Mientkiewicz to be sued for World Series ball. I was like, sick, like awesome. So now I'm getting sued for it. But I was under the impression that if the Hall of Fame wants something, they come to you and they say, hey, we'd like to have that. I didn't know the protocol because, nothing I ever had was ever going to go to Cooperstown. So I didn't know any of that shit. So I was like waiting for them to call and be like, hey, we'd like to have it. And they never did. So finally I learned the protocol and I ended up giving it to the Hall of Fame. That's where it belongs anyways. But like I said, there's a lot of just, like, I didn't wear my World Series ring for like 2 years because I was like, fuck these guys. And then I thought about it like, well, the people that I'm arguing with, like, really had nothing to do with it. It's the players. So I was gonna, I was like, all right, I finally put it back on. I had a better taste in my mouth, but it was a shit show from the start and could have been handled way differently. And on both parts, my end too, but I wouldn't change it for anything.